So I was talking to Sarah Hernandez yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And something that she said to me, we were talking about like the whole cliche of how this company and how this business has changed our lives and who we are today because of what we said yes to 6 years ago, and how that yes, that one little yes, totally redefined our lives. And not just because we got fit back into our, pre-baby clothes or things like that. And it made me, I was really reflecting on how I was raised and how my parents, what they instilled in me and what I watched them do as a child. And then as an adult, how I took those values that they instilled in me, and I still value them, but I have used platforms like this to make it much more family friendly for me and my family, and especially my family with the way it looks today. So as I was talking to her about that, she was like, wow, I didn't know that about you. You didn't get to do that when you were little. And I was like, man, I need to like share a little bit of my story, because even just like reflecting on my story myself with her, it motivated me a little bit to keep pushing, to keep trudging through when it gets hard, or to keep showing up to the 9 o'clock team call, even though I want to just like Netflix and chill, like it just really, just telling her my story and having that reaction from her kind of made me realize that it's a story people need to hear. And then I was just talking to my dad about it too before we hopped on this call. So growing up, my parents, my mom got a 2-year degree in like juvenile justice, some court system stuff. I don't know exactly what the degree was in. She never did anything with that degree, but she has a 2-year degree. And then my dad did not go to college. He and I were just texting, and he's like, yeah, I'm just a blue collar worker. And I literally sent back like, Dad, you're not just anything, because I am who I am today because of the work ethic and the things that I saw you do that you instilled in me. So don't ever like take away from that. Like just because you didn't get a 4-year degree, or you didn't, do something like that you think is major, like invent something or walk on the moon, like that is never, I have never, when talking about either one of my parents, said, oh, he's just this, or she's just like, I would never discredit them, because they are incredible. And they're incredible because growing up, we were not wealthy. We were not, I never went without food. I was never hungry. I was never cold. I always had a roof over my head. I always had food on the table, more food than necessary. I always had ice cream and soda. Like, there were things that I had that probably other kids in my class didn't have, that were considered like luxuries. But what I was telling Sarah yesterday was, there were definitely times where like I didn't get to go on a field trip because mom and dad couldn't afford to pay for me and my brother to go on the field trip. Or I would go on a field trip like to the movie theater because it was only like a $10 field trip, but there was no money for snacks. So everyone else would get popcorn and soda and all that, and I didn't have that. And it bothered me a little bit as a kid because I saw everybody else getting it, but at the same time I was like, it didn't bother me a whole lot. But I definitely remember like when they would go to the theme park, the Great Escape, which is like a Six Flags park. I never got to go because it was like $30 something for one child to go, and mom and dad couldn't do that for both of us. So that just meant neither one of us got to go. And we took part in like the free summer camp program through the school system. And I had a job when I was 14. When I was 16, Mom and dad did buy me a used car. It was significantly used. And I paid my own insurance. And then when I wrecked that car that they gave me, I had to buy a new one, and I had to go to my grandmother and ask her for a personal loan. We wrote out a contract, and I asked her for a loan for, I think, like $6,000 for a Dodge Neon. And I paid her, after moving down to North Carolina, I paid her what I could every single month until I eventually paid it off. And so I never growing up was handed something like, but I was just telling my dad, I also never really remember growing up and feeling like I didn't have something that somebody else had. Like our family vacations were always freaking amazing. We camped all the time, which now reflecting back, that was a lot more affordable for us to be able to go camping. I mean, we just had the best memories. Like I remember sparklers, and I remember being out on the kayaks and in the canoe. I remember swimming in the lake. I learned how to swim in the lake. I learned how to ice skate on the lake. I learned like all that stuff. Fishing. We just had made the best memories. And I also remember constantly seeing my mom working 2 to 3 jobs to make that happen. Part of that was because she felt we needed the money. Part of it is also because she's just a workaholic. And I'm realizing that now because she's an adult and doesn't support 2 children and still has an extra job on the side. But a lot of it was because we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the stuff that we did if mom didn't have an extra job. Now, with all that said, my mom and dad never missed a basket. I played basketball, softball, soccer. I downhill skied. I played, softball, basketball, soccer, downhill skied, and I was on a bowling league. My parents never missed a game. They traveled to every game. They had me ride home with them instead of getting on the school bus to ride back to the school after the game. Like they were there. My brother also played baseball, soccer, and basketball, and downhill skied, and was on a bowling team. They never missed one of his things either. I remember watching my mom while I was playing basketball. We had a really, really large senior trip every year. And we could raise money for the trip in order for the trip to be free if you worked enough hours. It was all fundraisers. And mom knew that she would not be able to afford the trip for me without fundraising. When I was not playing basketball, she was in the cafeteria working to earn money for me to be able to go on the trip. Like she was pushing the cookies, she was pushing the magazines. And when I wasn't playing, we were both in the kitchen, doing the fundraising. When I was playing, she would be in there raising the money. My mom ended up raising, and I did some of it, but she did the majority of it. She ended up raising enough money that we both went on my senior trip. She was a chaperone. We both went for free, and I had enough extra money to use as spending money because she busted her butt for me, because she loved us and knew that she couldn't just shell it out. We did not have a silver spoon. And now that I'm an adult, I am realizing that I'm so blessed to have been brought up that way. I'm so blessed that I did have to take out a couple student loans. My parents took out some too, and I did get some scholarships. But I'm very blessed because it has taught me the value of saving and of good work ethic and retirement and like all these things that I feel like people don't always understand. Even grown-ass men and women don't always understand. And it's like mind-boggling to me and bizarre to me that someone in their 30s or 40s doesn't comprehend that you should not be living paycheck to paycheck, or that you should have, money in the bank or a house instead of just renting and things like that. If possible. Not everyone can do all of it at the same age. I'm not judging anybody, but it just made me realize that I'm very, very blessed to have had the upbringing that I had, because when my dad said, "Oh, I'm just a blue collar worker," I kind of went off on him a little bit. I'll read you what I said to him. Dad's being really emotional and mushy right now, so I'm not going to read everything, but I said, "I remember growing up never feeling like I missed out on anything. Our vacations camping were amazing. Christmas was always over the top. Um, but I saw my mom, and I'm telling my dad this, work her ass off with 2 to 3 jobs. And I don't want my kids to go without because I'm a single mom. So I've learned those same values, but because I have a platform like Beachbody and I'm surrounding myself with like-minded women that are also entrepreneurial spirits and pushing to constantly learn and grow and be better versions of themselves, I'm doing the same thing for my children without requiring myself to clock in for somebody else. My mom had to clock in for other people. She had to work around their schedule. And thankfully, she was able to make it work that she didn't miss much of anything for us growing up. But I know that's not the norm, especially in a situation where you are raising your children by yourself. And my dad said, I'm just a blue collar worker. We were never wealthy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you're not just anything. You and mom raised us this way. We didn't need money. We didn't. Like, my brother and I did not know that we didn't have what everybody else had. Like, I knew that my clothes came from Kmart, but they were cute clothes. And I knew I got one pair of shoes at the beginning of the school year and they had to last me all school year. I always got pretty much whatever pair I wanted. I mean, I wasn't getting the $100 shoes the other kids were getting, but I always liked what I picked. And I said to him, we literally had everything. I had happy parents that were friends, that loved each other, that liked being around each other, that didn't fight. I saw them have uncomfortable conversations about money and things like that, but it was a conversation. It was not a screaming match. And I said, I realized looking back, you saw those other families going on cruises and like their daughter got to bring her best friend or got to bring her boyfriend of the year. There were families that literally brought a different boyfriend every year on their family vacation to the Dominican Republic in my town because that's just what they did. And then they showcased it on, with pictures and everything. But they were out doing that stuff because they were trying to fill a void, and we didn't have a void to fill. So we were pretty darn happy making tie-dye t-shirts at the campground. And it hit me that I get to do that because without clocking in for someone else, because of me saying yes to this 6 years ago. I just bought all the camping gear and I'm taking my kids camping Memorial Day weekend. I'm able to buy that camping gear because of this job, this side hustle. I am taking the kids to Disney World again in March. And I know some people think that that's insane, that I go too much or I'm blowing money. That's what we love to do. We literally live hours away, less than a day away from the parks. And that's how we choose to spend that money. Not because we feel the need to be flashy, because that's where we like to spend our time together. So we're going to go do it. Like, it made me very, very thankful that even in the moments when this side hustle or, business, whatever you want to call this for you in your life, even in the moments where it's frustrating or hard or you feel judged or you feel like all you hear is no, the doors that it has opened. And with that said, I kind of wanted to lead into other things because I know that saying yes to Beachbody 7 years ago has literally completely changed every single aspect of my life, not just my mental and physical health, but my self-worth. I would not be where I am today in so many aspects without Beachbody. And then on top of that, it has caused me to surround myself with other people who are also constantly growing and shining. I mean, look at this call. You've got Christy, who just launched a podcast. You've got Jen, who is getting ready to hike the Appalachian Trail again. Like, you've got these people here that are doing things that other people, other human beings in this world would never even imagine dreaming about. That's pretty freaking awesome. Like, you think about this. You think about what your parents did growing up and the dreams that they may have never dreamed because they didn't find them possible. And then look at what you're doing today. You are living out some of those dreams that they never even imagined dreaming. You're doing some of the things that your parents never in a million years thought they could possibly even attempt to do because they were too scared. And here you are doing it with money in the bank, with a retirement plan, with, health insurance, like things that other people in our country do not have. People older than you, people younger than you, or people your same age do not have those things because A, they may not have learned how to have them. B, they unfortunately didn't say yes at some point along the way when they had the opportunity to say yes. And so they have missed out on tremendous opportunity for self-growth, for financial freedom, for just just think about who you are today compared to who you were a month or two ago or a year or two ago. Think of what you're accomplishing now that you never in a million years thought you could do. With that said, because I've surrounded myself with these people that are constantly pushing and then making me question, well, if she can do that, can I do that too? Like, I've never looked at something that Christy is doing or Tara is doing or Mandy or Jen or whoever is doing and thought, oh man, look what she's doing. I could never do that. Now I might see people I don't know doing things and think, there's no way I could do that. But when I see people that I talk to that I know on a first name basis, people who I do life with, even if we don't live near each other, I work at the same school as you, or I know that your son just had a birthday party, or, we interact on a daily basis. When I see you doing something, the first thought in my mind is, yes, queen, let me clap for you because I'm so freaking excited and happy and honored to call you my friend. But number two, if she can do that, what can I do? This is someone that I relate to, someone that I am, equal with. If she's capable of doing the hard thing of starting scared, like Christy's podcast is called, then why can't I? It's not a matter of I can't, it's a matter of why can't I? If this queen can do this, then what about the queen inside me? And so now I find myself, I am officially applying for my LLC tomorrow. And I have grown this health and fitness Beachbody business into now I have a nutrition certification, into now I'm also educating families and helping families across the country, up and down the East Coast, at least at this point, through this pandemic, as far as being ready for kindergarten and having tutoring sessions and helping readers grow and emerge into readers or grow and get, closer to on grade level because they've fallen behind. To now, tonight, seriously looking at numbers and looking at a brick and mortar space to see if there's a potential for me to have a studio where we can do all the things that would be encompassed underneath my LLC. Never in a million years, 15 years ago, would I have thought I'd be even a business owner today. But here I am. And it's because saying yes to Beachbody, and I came into it wholeheartedly saying to the person who asked me, that's fine, I'll go ahead and do it. I can afford that. I'll choke down the shakes for a month so I can lose the weight. and then I'll never order them again. And then I'll just, when the discount runs out, I'll cancel. I literally said that to her. And here I am 7 years later running a team, I would rather call it like co-hosting a team, really, and building other businesses that I never would have even considered doing or even thought of before this opportunity came into place. It's kind of cool. Like the thing that Sarah said to me that made me realize I needed to share this part of my story is she was like, you never got to go on field trips? Like it really hurt her heart when I told her that. And I wasn't saying, we were talking about finances, and I just like threw that out there. Like, I didn't get to do these things. And I don't want my children to not get to do those things. And she was like, I didn't know that you didn't get to do that when you were a kid. And I was like, I mean, if it was free or if it was like $6 to go to, the county fair, then I got to go. But when it came to like things that cost $20+ per person, no, we didn't get to go. And she was like, Lindsay, look at what you're doing for your children and no one is helping you. And it hit me. Like I've gone from this little girl who didn't have money to get popcorn at the movie theater to this woman who can single-handedly take her children on a Disney vacation or single-handedly pay a mortgage on a home that I put a down payment on. And again, I realized that a lot of things, they didn't fall into place. I put them in place in order to get here. So I'm not saying that everybody should be at the same spot I am at my age. I'm just saying that one yes 7 years ago got me to this point today. And it's because I said yes to this team, this opportunity. And it's really cool to look back and think how far we came. And I want to encourage you to do that because I want you to just think about how this has impacted your life. And as cliche as you want to call it, it has changed your life. Big ways, little ways, all sorts of ways. Not all of them are about money. Not all of them are about building a business or being an entrepreneur. But so much change has happened inside of you and inside of your life. And you may not realize it right now, but if I remember watching my mom work her ass off for me, clocking in for other people, and I look back and admire her for that. If I remember her working the fundraisers so that I could go on my senior trip to Disney World, I remember those things. And I admire her, and I'm thankful for the life that my parents gave me because of how hard they were willing to work. Think about how you are being looked at by your children, by your parents, by your friends, your coworkers, your spouse. Those people admire you, whether they want to admit it or not. And I'm going to say this. Don't you dare for 1 minute ever, ever, ever apologize if your desire to be your best, if your drive to constantly grow and level up and be anything you dream of being, don't you dare ever apologize for that. Because there are going to be people in this world who feel very small simply being in the same room as you. That is on them. That is not on you. And don't you dare dim your light or try to change it, not for an instant, to help somebody else feel less insecure. Invite them to join you, hold their hand, encourage them, speak love and light into them, but don't you dare dim yourself so that they feel more secure with themselves. That's not helping anybody. And that was how the conversation with Sarah got started and what led me to share this with you tonight. I just strongly feel that when we said yes, we leveled up in a multitude of ways. And it was not just to get healthy. It was so much more. And even if you don't think you're the right rank or you make the right income, I really want you to think about what else you've gained from this and who you're going to be next year at this time, because you're constantly growing. And it's a pretty awesome space to be in. It's pretty cool to be able to look back and see how far you've come because of a simple yes that could have easily been a no and may have been a no 25 times before you said yes. Think of all you can accomplish. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the Beachbody business. Think of what else you've accomplished. Rank, income is not the only indication of success. I wanted to share, there's a really cool promotion going on in March, and of course, March starts tomorrow, called the My Best Fitness Friend promotion. And this is really cool. So if you have been waiting to invite a friend to join a Beachbody program with you, now is the time to do it. Every single person that enrolls as a new coach or that enrolled as a new coach between January 1st of this year and March 31st of this year is going to receive one My BFF promo code in March. So you're going to be able to share that promo code if you joined between January 1st and March 31st. The code is going to give your friend $40 off of any challenge pack or completion pack. We've never had a promotion like this. $40 off is significant, especially in the pandemic times that we're in. Essentially, that means that they would be getting their Shakeology for free, or their Recover and Energize for free. So even the ones on sale will still get the $40 off. And I believe the sale, let me pull up the email. I believe the sale is still going to be off of 9-week Control Freak. Yep. So it's still going to be $20 off. There's also $20 off of the 30-day breakaway packages. That's pretty much all the news for March. But the thing that I was really excited about was the that $40 promotion code. So even if you've been considering like signing up your spouse or signing up your mom or someone as a coach to help you rank advance or something, now would be a great time to have them do that and then use their $40 promo code to gift it to someone else even if they don't plan on working the business themselves. Christy said in the chat that what I was talking about tonight goes along with her podcast episode for Wednesday. And I have to plug her because I listened to her first one last week. And first of all, she just sounds like she knows what the fuck she's doing. Like, she sounds like a pro. And the whole time I was like, that's my friend. My friend has a podcast. Like, I was so excited to hear you. And I kept thinking, like, she's like legit Chalene Johnson right now. Like, she's got music. She's got like this whole little recording. She's famous. I was so excited and happy and proud of you. And I loved your content for your first episode. And I'm a subscriber. So listen to it. It's awesome. All right. Anybody want to